is going to say about volcanoes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is that your cousin?
That's a student.
One of the students that logs on.
Can you say hi?
Hi. She
Okay.
doesn't hear me.
So we're going to do a PowerPoint that I made. So I'm going to share that and we'll get started and we'll learn about some volcanoes, Jack.
Volcanoes.
Okay.
She said volcanoes.
Yeah.
So today we're talking about Australia / Oceania.
And West Circle.
So which one did you know it as? Do you know it more as the continent of Australia or the continent of Oceania? Have you ever heard it called the continent of Oceania? No. Yeah, when I was growing up, I never really heard it called the continent of Oceania either. But Australia is actually a country, and it's kind of gotten the name as the continent, but we'll talk a little bit more about that. So, Oceania, kind of Australia, is the smallest of our 7 continents. And although some consider Australia as the largest island in the world, Australia is referred to as a country and a continent. Australia is surrounded by the Pacific and Indian Ocean. And did you know that Australia is actually the largest country in the Southern Hemisphere, and it's the largest country without any land borders? So if you look at the picture here, this is what is all considered the continent of Oceania. And this is just the little country in it, and it's surrounded completely by water. There is no land really near it except for all these tiny little islands, because if we didn't consider all these tiny little islands part of the continent of Oceania, they would really have nowhere to belong to. They'd just kind of be free floating in the water. So Australia is the 6th largest country in the world, and it is divided into 6 different states. You have Southern Australia, Western Australia, New South Wales, Queensland, Victoria, which is down here, and then Tasmania. And then on top of that, it also has 2 governed territories, which are the Northern Territory and the Australian Capital Territory, which is this Melbourne down here. And Australia is actually roughly the size of the US if you would take California and Texas. So if you take the one state off the side and the one state on the bottom, Australia is about the same size as the United States. Okay? So one of the really cool things I found out about Australia while researching this for you guys is that this town, the city in South Australia, which is surrounded by fertile agriculture, is also the city that holds one of the largest Christmas parades in the whole world. So this town of Adelaide holds the biggest Christmas parade. What's up, Meadow?
I have a question.
Yes.
What place are we learning about today?
So we're talking about the country of Oceania, or the continent of Oceania, which is like Australia. Most people know it as the continent of Australia. And we're going to talk a little bit about New Zealand.
Okay, so New Zealand's what we're learning about?
Yeah, we're talking about Australia and New Zealand today. So this town is actually in Australia, and it holds the largest Christmas parade, okay? And then also off the coast of Australia is the Great Barrier Reef. And the Great Barrier Reef is one of the planet's most extraordinary natural wonders. Its largest coral reef system and the only living organisms that can be spotted from space. So these can actually be spotted from space. And it is off the coast of Queen's Island in Australia. And this is just a picture of some of the corals. Have any of you guys ever heard of the Great Barrier Reef, or is this the first time you're hearing of it?
I've heard of it a few times.
Heard of it a few times? When I was looking up, it says it's a great spot if you're gonna go like vacation in Australia. It's a great spot to snorkel and go diving and kind of make sure you see it while you're on your trip. And then we're going to talk about the animals of Australia. So kind of like we typically do, I'm going to show you the picture, and if you know what the animal is, go ahead and say it. And then I've also got some fun facts today about each animal. So Australia is home to many animal species. In fact, Australia houses more than 10% of the world's biodiversity, which means it has about 10% of different animals and plant varieties. So let's go ahead. Okay, do you guys know what this animal is?
Koala.
Koala. Okay, so koalas are often referred to as koala bears, but they're actually marsupials, not bears. Now, do you guys know what a marsupial is? That's my other question, because we're going to talk about a lot of marsupials when it comes to Australia. So does anybody know what a marsupial is? No? Okay. So a marsupial, I gotta get my handy dandy definition here, is it's kind of a mammal, but it's considered, it did not completely develop when it was born. And marsupials typically carry their babies in their pouch. So you know how like kangaroos and all that have pouches? All marsupials have a pouch to carry their babies in. And most marsupials are only found in Australia and New Zealand. But some do live in America, such as possums. So most of these marsupials actually live in Australia and New Zealand area, okay? And so koalas are native to Australia. You may see them at a zoo or not, but more times than not, they're native to Australia. Koalas are nocturnal, so are mainly active at night. And koalas live in eucalyptic forests and eat gum leaves, which are usually toxic to other animals. Here is your next image. If you know what it is, go ahead and say it. Some of these animals, I'm pretty sure you guys won't know most of them, but it's fun to learn about the animals from different countries. So if you have a guess, go ahead and guess. It's not wrong if you want to guess. Okay. This is a wombat. Wombats are short-legged, muscular marsupials native to Australia. They are also mainly nocturnal, emerging at night to feed on grasses, herbs, bark, and roots. And wombats have slow metabolism, and they have teeth like rodents. So when you hear teeth like rodents, what do you think of?
Hamster.
You kind of think of more like mice and like those kind of things where they have like the buck teeth almost. Okay. Let's see. I hope you guys know this animal.
Kangaroo.
Kangaroo. Okay. So kangaroos' bodies are designed for jumping. They have short front legs and powerful back legs and huge back feet and long tails. All of these help them to jump around, and their tails balance them. And did you know, I found out another really fun fact about kangaroos when I was doing this? Kangaroos cannot actually walk backwards because of their big feet. They cannot walk backwards. They can only move forward. Crazy. Okay, here's some more Australian animals. Do you guys know what that is? This is a dingo. A dingo is an Australian wild dog with a pointed nose, pointed ears, and a bushy tail. Dingoes like to eat animals such as rabbits, mice, birds, lizards, kangaroos, and wallabies. But they will also eat plants and berries. And a dingo pup typically depends on their mothers for milk for the first 6 to 8 months of their lives. Okay. Do you guys know what this animal is? What?
No, platypus.
It is a platypus. So the platypus is a semi-aquatic mammal that has a very unusual appearance. It is duck-billed, has a beaver-like tail, lays eggs, oh my gosh, I can't talk, has otter-like fur and webbed feet. The platypus is only found in eastern Australia and small rivers and streams within the states of Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, and Tasmania. Okay, this is the last animal we're going to talk about for Australia, and then we'll jump into something else. So what animal is that, do you guys think? Looks kind of scary. This is a Tasmanian devil. Adult Tasmanian devils are usually about the size of a small dog. They have coarse brown or black fur and a pudgy appearance that makes them look almost like baby bears. But don't let their cuteness fool you, because they have sharp teeth and a strong, muscular jaws that can deliver one of the most powerful bites of any mammal on Earth. So if you guys have ever seen or heard of the cartoon that has the Tasmanian devil, this is what they actually look like. And then before we go on, so I have a question for you guys though. Do you remember about anything significant that happened in Australia in this last year? Did you guys hear anything about any of that or anything that happened that kind of devastated Australia?
Wildfire?
Yep. Over the last year, Australia had some really bad wildfires that took out a lot of the land and the agriculture, and it did take out some of the animals too, and some of the buildings and houses and all that. So they are hopefully rebuilding all of that after a really rough year of some crazy wildfires. So now we're going to talk a little bit about New Zealand. So New Zealand is a country in the southern hemisphere, and it belongs to the continent of Oceania. New Zealand consists of two main islands. You got the North Island up here. You got the South Island down here. The islands are separated by the waters of the Cook Strait. So just this little itty bit of water separates them. And South Island is larger than the two islands, and it is the 12th largest island in the world. So, speaking of New Zealand, it is considered to be in the Ring of Fire. Do you guys know what the Ring of Fire is?
Surrounded by fire.
Surrounded by fire? Not quite. Good guess, though. The Ring of Fire, also referred to as the Circum-Pacific Belt, is a path along the Pacific Ocean characterized by active volcanoes and frequent earthquakes. The majority of Earth's volcanoes and earthquakes take place along the Ring of Fire. So New Zealand is in the middle of this Ring of Fire. So this is where a lot of volcanic activity happens. So how many volcanoes do you think New Zealand has? Just give a guess. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just give a guess at how many volcanoes you think New Zealand has.
100.
100? It's a lot smaller than that. It's not a lot because if you remember, if we go back and look at the picture, you have to remember they fit on just these islands. So it's not 100, but
Instead of 100, I'm going with at least 25.
25?
10.
Okay. So New Zealand, like I said, lies in this Ring of Fire, and there are numerous volcanoes on the North Island. So they're mostly, let's go back to the picture. So volcanoes are mostly just on this little island right there. So there are, drum roll please, 12 active volcanoes on New Zealand. Yes, you have a question. Go ahead.
Are they underwater or on land?
I think for the most part they're on land, but I think some may be underwater. There's a Nice volcano picture of a volcano erupting. I know when I was researching, it said the last volcano eruption they had was in December of last year. So they haven't had a volcano eruption since around Christmas. Let's see. Let's go to the
Do
next.
they have snow?
Do they have snow? I don't think so. It's a good question. Let me look that up quick for you. Does it snow in New Zealand? Let's see what my... Okay, here, you ready for this? Snow typically appears during the months of June through October. So it does snow, but so how we have our winter during like November, December, January, February timeframe, we're in the northern hemisphere and New Zealand's in the southern hemisphere, so their seasons are flipped from us. So right now when we're in our summer, they're in their winter. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the animals of New Zealand. Okay, so New Zealand is home to many animal species. Some marine animals and bats live only in this country, and almost half of all whale and dolphin species are found in New Zealand. So when we look at all these lovely animal pictures, what do you think we're going to see a lot of? What kind of pictures? Go ahead. What kind of pictures do you think we're going to see a lot of?
Bats and whales, and maybe some humpbacks.
Okay, so let's see if you guys know what all these pictures look like. And again, it'll be a picture, and then I've got some nice, fun facts to talk about to go with them. So the first picture.
Whale.
It's a whale. Do you know what kind of whale, though?
Not exactly.
Okay, so this is a sperm whale, which is the largest toothed whale species and can be seen all year round along the coast of Kikoura, I think that's how you pronounce it, in the south and east, in the southeast of South Island. So in the lower island we talked about earlier, you can see these animals pretty much all year round. Okay. Here is the next image. Do you guys know what animal that is? This is a little, like I said, some of these animals are only seen in this country. So you may not have ever seen them or know what they are. Okay, this is a kiwi. I think of kiwi as a fruit. I didn't know there was a kiwi bird till I was doing all this research. The kiwi is a flightless bird and is one of New Zealand's national symbols. Do you know what a national symbol means? So a national symbol, if you think of like for the US, our national symbol, like our bird, is the eagle. So it's something that like the whole nation recognizes. It's something very unique to where they live. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Here is the next one. Do you guys know what animal this is?
My guess it's a puffin.
Okay. This is and I'm going to say the first name wrong. It's a Fordlian crested penguin. And they nest under bushes, between tree roots, or in holes using very little nest building material.
I know.
Yes?
And I thought those were macaroni penguins.
There are lots of different penguin species that actually live in New Zealand. Surprisingly. I did not know that.
I was so close.
That did not. Okay, so it tells you what animal it is. Apparently, I didn't do a very good job of animating this one. So what animal is that, guys?
Orca. Orca killer whale.
Yep. An orca or a killer whale. So orcas or killer whales are warm-blooded. Whales are warm-blooded like other mammals and have a fatty tissue called blubber that keeps them warm. Can you guys think of a famous movie that has an orca in it? Have you ever heard of it or seen it? It's kind of an older movie. I watched it when I was a kid.
No, but I do know that orcas are. I know that orcas are dolphins' worst enemy.
And that's another fun fact I learned. Did you know that an orca whale is actually a type of dolphin? Crazy. Okay, here is your next picture. Who knows what animal that is? Somebody said it at the beginning when we said what we were going to talk a lot about.
Humpback.
That is the humpback whale. Humpback whales are acrobats. The humpback whale is considered to be the most active whale and is famous for its acrobatic moves. Humpback whales do not have teeth. Did you know that? That humpback whales do not have teeth.
Yes, because instead of eating, they open their mouth for whatever goes in there. They just leave it out and then they swallow it.
Yep, you are right. And here is the last animal we are going to learn about today. What animal is that? Dolphin. So compared to other animals, dolphins are believed to be very intelligent. Dolphins are carnivores, which are meat eaters, and the bottlenose dolphins are the most common and well-known type of dolphin. And that is the end of the slideshow, guys. So since we were kind of talking about volcanoes a little bit, since New Zealand is in the Ring of Fire, do you guys know how to make a volcano at home?
It's easy. You take a bottle, put baking soda and vinegar in it, then add water, and then stand back and do, and it's kablooey. Mostly do it in the street.
Yep, you usually try and do it in like a bucket or something. Yep, usually try and do it in a bucket or whatever so that doesn't make a lot of noise.
A bathtub.
Or not a lot of noise. Like, yeah, like a bathtub so it doesn't make a big mess.
Or make a surrounding for like a bottom with some sides to keep all that stuff that came out of the volcano in the area, like in the dish.
Yeah. Do you know what causes a volcano to erupt? Do you know why volcanoes erupt? Usually a volcano erupts if the magma is thick and the gas bubbles cannot easily escape from the pressure. It builds all that up and the magma rises and rises, and when the pressure is just too much to take anymore, the volcano will explode, and that's when the eruption can happen, and it can be dangerous and even very destructive.
And see this little the bottle, see, and then there's this little it's a little stick thing. You can make it out of a water curtain, a water jug, just cut in half, and then just cut a little, and you can make that little fun.
You are very right. So that is all that I have for you guys today. I hope you learned something new today. And tomorrow we will be talking about the continent of Asia. So I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Have a great rest of your afternoon, okay?